I offer my humble and loving salutations to our most beloved Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sairam to all of you. We greet each other with various ways, but I think Swami had the best way to address us. All the time, he used two significant words, Premaswaroopalara. That means embodiments of divine love. In this way, he reminded us that the divine love that we are searching for is not to be found anywhere outside of us, but it has to be realized as our own true selves. Self-realization and divine love are identical. To realize our inner divinity as the very form of love is the ultimate goal of all his teachings and of all our activities within the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization. My name is George Bebedelis. Some people have difficulty to pronounce my surname, so just George. It's very easy. I come from Athens, Greece, and today I have the honor to be the moderator of this panel discussion on divine love. It is, of course, my great pleasure, as I suppose of all of you, to be here in this unique international conference where we have the opportunity to be together in person again after a long time and to meet so many dear brothers and sisters we haven't seen for a long time, but also to meet many others. For me, it is a very special occasion as this is my first visit to the United States, and what better reason than to participate in this wonderful event. I come straight from a 10 days European spiritual retreat, which took place in Greece, in a place we have there, very beautiful place, which we call also Sai Prema. A few years ago, we had the chance to welcome Dr. Reddy there, and many other people have come and have experienced the beauty and the sanctity of this place. So from Sai Prema of Greece to Sai Prema Nilayam of California. It seems that the Sai Prema, the love of Sai, has spread to every corner of the planet, and it is time that more centers like this, they develop in various corners of the planet. So this Sai Prema, this divine love, is the theme of today's panel discussion. Of course, much has been said already, and but I'm sure that with the insightful inputs that we have from our panelists and the chance for questions and answers, we'll have the opportunity to enjoy and to go deeper into this topic. As you can see, we have a wonderful panel consisting of Reverend Father Joseph Mutier from Kenya. We already heard his talk, his beautiful talk yesterday. Mr. Krishnan Nair from Australia, Mrs. Kreta Sherman, and Sai Gopini Paner Selvam from USA, and Mrs. Satya Narayana Sosa from Mexico. We will have the opportunity, as I said, to hear their insights on the topic of divine love. After this, the questions and answer session will start, during which everyone can participate. To make it possible to hear more opinions, we must be aware of the time limit, so let us be kind and considerate for the others and use time wisely. Though most of the participants in this audience are senior members of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization, and you have read and heard much on the paramount importance of divine love in the teachings of Sai, I am sure that we can all enjoy an enlightening discussion and be uplifted. Recently, we celebrated Easter. Actually, we have Catholic and Orthodox Easter, and I follow the Orthodox tradition, and the Easter was last Sunday. And in this great, maybe the greatest celebration in Christianity, we honor Jesus, who came on earth and sacrificed his own life to bring the message of divine love. And as we heard before from Swami's discourse, he spoke about Daiva Prema, and the main characteristic of this divine love is, he said, Tyaga, sacrifice. I will just share a small a story with Swami, and then we can start. Once, I've traveled so many times to Prasanthi Nilayam. Once Swami called me from the lines. It was not in an interview. He called me in the veranda. And then I was standing there. Swami was above me, many people around. And then he asked me some questions about my personal and spiritual life. He told me, "Where are you from?" I said, "Greece, Swami." Then he asked me, "Are you happy here?" I said, "Yes, Swami." "And are you happy there?" I said, "Yes, Swami, I'm also happy there. When we see you in our hearts, we are always happy." Then Swami smiled, satisfied with the question. Then he asked me, "What is your religion?" I said, "Christian, Swami." And then immediately he asked me, "What is the symbol of Christianity?" I said, "Cross." "And what is the meaning of cross?" "You all know." I also knew. But Swami, like a real teacher, he wants to test his students if they're studied well and understood the lesson. So I immediately answered to Swami without any delay. I said, "Swami, the vertical line is the I, and the horizontal line is to cut across the I, the ego. This is the meaning of cross." Then Swami was very satisfied, smiled, and said, "Yes, yes, yes. Jesus meant sacrifice." So today, without further ado, I would like to give the mic to Reverend Father Joseph Moutier, who I think is the most appropriate person, and we are very happy to have him with us during these days. And for me, it is, I feel, a special connection, because Father Moutier also follows the Orthodox Coptic tradition in Kenya. He is a priest in Kenya. And most importantly, he is the president of the Interreligious Council of Kenya. So, Father, you can give us your thought on divine love.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. George. I humble myself and recognize the leadership and observe all protocol. It's quite humbling when you get up. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite humbling when we get an opportunity to converge together and speak about love. In rare occasions, do people speak about love? Love is a topic that is so dear to our hearts. But on the other hand, our experience in this world is not of love, but of hate. It is very ironical that everybody admires to be loved, yet we also feel happy to hate. We struggle to own so much in this world. We struggle to be the best, to to be the best, to compete in this world. We struggle to be up there. Yet, love, just as we have said a number of times here, does not frown. Love is very simple, very gentle, very cool. It comes from the heart. And so when we talk of divine love, we are talking of our nature. And our nature plus the nature of God. Not because we can, but because of Him that is in us, who makes us who we are, because He created us. And that is why when divine love gets inside you, you realize your weakness and you want to work on the weakness of the others. I'm much humbled to join you in this conference after I have experienced the great work that your organization is doing in our country. I have learned more about love and selflessness through Sathya Sai Center in Nairobi. When COVID-19 emerged, the world was in disarray. I remember the poor had no one to run to. COVID was a respecter of none, the rich, the poor, and any other person. So you can imagine how many families did not have food, how many families needed medical attention, how many people, poor people, needed love. And we found it at Sathya Sai when they devoted much of their time to treat. When everybody was running away from people, the team from Sathya Sai was calling, come and get treatment, come and get service. It is always God who calls us to come closer to Him every day. We saw it with Sathya Sai. When people did not have food, Sathya Sai mobilized a good ton, put in tons. And even when we did not have, anything for the poor and the needy, Sathya Sai team, volunteers came and supported our people. That is how we saw the divine love that permeates the hearts of the people. It is through service that we talk or we show the image of God. Mr. George shared about the story of Jesus Christ, how He left heaven and came to this earth, and how He walked with the poor and the needy, how He healed the sick, how He touched the lame, how He opened the eyes of the blind, how He spoke good things and did miracles in the presence of many. He wanted to show the divine love, but the world was not ready for that divine love. At the end of it, they crucified Him, but He continued to show His love to the world. While on the cross, He forgave those that crucified Him, saying, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing. And even at the end, before He gave His Spirit, He forgave the thief on the cross, You can imagine when he was in pain, he could still forgive. And at the end of it, everybody knows. In 3 days, that is what we call Easter, he resurrected and appeared to many and did so many miracles. For us as Christians, divine love comes from within. It cannot come from without. When you see that hungry person, when you see that beggar on the street, when you see that family that does not even have a cloth, even some shoes, when you see that community that is struggling to get water, when you see, that opportunity to serve, it is that moment when you put the eye of God in yourself and portray the divine love of God. May God guide us and fill us with this love so that we can fill this world which is full of hatred and war with love, so that everybody comes and lives with each other as brothers and sisters, because that is what God intended when he brought us to this world. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Father Joseph. And now we can move to Miss Greta Sherman, who is a founding member of the Sathya Sai Center of St. Louis, Missouri. She has served as the president of Region 4 of USA. In the 1970s, Greta started already one of the first Sai spiritual education programs in the USA. She was a presenter on the importance of values in education at Sathya Sai Baba School in Uti. She has so many and rich experiences with Swami himself. Maybe she could share some of them with us. She's currently a mentor of teachers for the State Department of Education. So, Ms. Greta.
Sairam. Could you feel the love yesterday? Yes. Did you feel the love this morning? Yes. The most important question is, do you feel Swami's presence right now? Yes. And do you feel it in your heart? Yes. 1983 and 81. He called his overseas Bhavikas gurus to Prashanti, and he had a training for us. I believe this was 81. He said, do not compare yourself to others, because each of you are a flower on a garland of Sai Ram, each with your own special fragrance. And that's what divine love is about. Bringing out that special fragrance. So we are to talk about what is divine love to each one of us. It's Swami, of course. As he would say to the students, and I'm saying that each one of us are his student. I have the love for you of 1,000 mothers. 1,000 mothers. You, he would say, his students are my property. We are his property. Kasturi would call us into the lecture hall and to give us talks. And he would say, Swami has come to bring to us a new kind of math. 1 + 1 = 1. When you understand that, that is everything to know when it comes to divine love. Swami was our mirror. He created the entire presentation with his beauty, and it is within us. The Swami from the Vedanta Society yesterday was talking about the ocean of love that we are in, and it is that which is. It is the I am I. And it's not something that started at some time on your journey of this lifetime. It's been going on lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. That's how magnificent this creation is. That's how close you are to Him. And He says our life is His message. And it is through this divine love, because divine love is one with Atma. Swami has said that when you combine love with wisdom, it equals self-realization. So it's not something that we talk about, meaning it's something that you experience. It's something that you live. We have to go beyond. He told me once in the interview, he said, stay away from anger. Stay away from desire. Stay away from doubt. What is that doubt? We doubt our own divinity. We doubt the omnipresence. Once he materialized a set of earrings, and he says, not earrings, hearings. Hearings. Here rings the omnipresence, and it's for each and every one of us. We have the 5 koshas. So we have the Anandamaya kosha. When you were with Swami and he was talking, his words were like sweetness itself. You could never get enough, because that divine love is the divine love inside of us, which is our reality. He once described that the spiritual path was like this. This is in the interview room. He takes his hands and he makes 2 fists. He puts them together like this, and he starts concentrating, looking at his fist, and focus. So that love is something that we focus on. We want to keep the monkey mind out of the way. He said, think about me. How did Swami talk? What did Swami look like? Swami would move this way. Swami would move that way. And you could just feel that essence. You could feel that love. And we need to recall that and bring it into our everyday. That's why he says, that's why we have breath. Because with every inhale and exhale, we get closer and closer to our oneness with Him. So very quickly, I even saw him pick up and move a bag in the interview room. And Swami, what are you picking the bag up? And he says, it is my duty. It is the same with us. It is our duty to be this love. He told me once, he says, you do not stay in the right loka. What is that loka? It's the loka of divine love. And then he said, say, I am God. I am God. I am God. So this is who we really are. We are this Atma, this divine principle. We are this oneness. He asked me once, he said, are you ready? You know, whatever Swami's talking about, you want to be ready for, right? Yes, Swami, I'm ready. Are you sure? Yes, Swami, I'm sure. And he held his arms open like this, and he said, come take me. The I am is ready. So within each and every one of us, the I am is there, waiting and waiting for you to come and take it and carry that love throughout the world in everyday life. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Krita. Yes, Swami used different ways, so many ways, in order to remind us of our divine nature. Because after all, this makes things very simple. When we discover who we really are, then everything else manifests by its own. And this is the main thing. Swami had 1,000 ways to guide us to this direction, to understand that we are more than the body, the individual personality, the mind. And as you said, he emphasized, stay away from anger, stay away from desire, stay away from doubt, from the doubt of this divine nature, which we have to manifest. Thank you very much. So now I think we can move with Miss Satya Narayana Sosa Polo. I said the full name this time.
Correct.
She's coming from Mexico, and she's currently living in Mexico City. She is a graphic designer by profession, and she serves as the Young Adults Coordinator for Zone 2A, which covers Mexico and Central America and the Caribbean.
Sairam. I offer my most humble pranams to the Divine Lotus feet of my Master, my Guru, my Mother, my Father, my life, my everything, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank the organizer and to thank Swami for this honor to be here. When I knew the theme of this panel, which is divine love, I thought like, divine love? What is divine love? Swami has talked about divine love so many times. But what is divine love for you? For each of you? What is divine love for me? So I thought divine love is a love in itself. Is a love that we have or we feel for the other, for the animals, for the plants, for the person. But divine love is when you see someone that is struggling and you want to help that person. That is divine love, because you are not expecting nothing in regards to that. Divine love is what makes us feel that desire to help others. And that is our dharma, and our dharma is to do the right thing. But in my experience, this path isn't easy. Let me speak of my experience. I used to work for a company based here in USA, and at the beginning of this company had a new department, and that department hired 2 people. One was me, and the other person was a man, my colleague. We started the training, and with the weeks, with the months, the promotions came. So I get promoted. And my colleagues stayed there, like just working with me. After a few months, another people got hired. We were like a team of, 10. And I became the lead of that operation team. But my colleague stayed there in the same position. So the jealousy became. And I thought that I was working good. I was doing just my work, but the negativism and the jealousy took over him. So he started gossip, and he started talking about what I was doing wrong in my job. So he went to the HR department, talked about my work, my job, how I used to lead my team, and at the end, I got fired. It wasn't easy. I really thought that he was the bad guy. I was doing great. I was doing my job. The team was working good. The workflow was smooth. That was my thought. Apparently, it wasn't true. Even though I was angry and mad at Swami, at my company, at my boss, Few months later, I got the opportunity to travel to a festival in Argentina with the YAs. The situation is that if I didn't get fired, I couldn't attend that festival. And I didn't realize that Swami did that. And did that because he is the divine love. And he had a plan for me. I didn't know. I didn't realize at the time. But that is true. Swami is always taking over every single tiny, minute detail. Swami is the pure love, the divine love. So, nowadays, I look around me and see chaos in the world. I see violence and I think, why the world is so damaged? What is broken? Why is this, violence in this world? Where is the love that Swami always talked about? And I think about that, and I analyze those words, and I think that, well, maybe we need to start with the love inside us. So, if we are the difference between the rest of the people because we are Swami's devotees, because we are Swami's daughters and sons, we can emanate what we truly are. And what we truly are, we are the divine love. I am not saying that it is easy because for me it wasn't, but I just need to start with me. Swami has said, this is my message, and my message is love. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Sathya, and for reminding us that the only way that we can face the negativity in society is divine love. And love is very strong and can overcome all obstacles like jealousy, gossip, even you faced hiding in your job. And then your words remind me the words of Gandhi. We see all this negativity around us. Where is the love? Where is the good qualities? And he was saying, be the difference that you want to see in the world. So let's take this first step, and surely with Swami's grace and guidance and support, everything will change. Thank you. So now we're very honored to have with us Mr. Krishnan Nair, who comes from Sydney, Australia, long trip, like many of us, to come to this unique conference. And Mr. Krishnan Nair is by profession an electrical engineer, and his role in the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization is chair of Zone 3, which covers Australia and Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, and Fiji. So, Mr. Krishnan.
Thank you very much, George. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
And a very good morning to you. This morning we saw Swami describe, we saw his discourse on love. And he said, we commonly know love between husband and wife, between mother and child. And he said, is that divine love? He asks. And he says, the difference is there is always a tinge of selfishness in that. Divine love, he says, is absolutely pure. He teaches us that divine love is all-pervading universal force that exists within and beyond all of creation. You know, when we look at a lofty topic like this, it's always go back to see what Swami teaches us, Then we know we got the gospel there. He tells us this divine love is available to everybody. It is not restricted to anyone. Okay? And we can experience it, he says, by opening our hearts and minds to this divine love whenever it comes. It's like, if you are a radio tuner, you got to tune to the right frequency, and the radio waves are everywhere. Unless you tune to the right frequency, you're not going to get it. So if we open our hearts and minds and tune to that divine love, he says, we can experience this. And he tells us further that the purpose of of our life, of our human life, is to realize this love and, importantly, to share it with others. He tells us further that it can purify the soul and uplift it. And through this practice, and he says, you get this through the practice of selfless service. How very important, the conference is love and service. And here Swami is linking the two together. And he says, through the practice of selfless service, individuals can awaken, he says, this love within themselves and also be able to use it to serve others. Let's now take a few moments and see how this happens. So divine love, we can say, is the love that by its very nature gives continuously without asking anything in return. And that is the love that God has for all his human children. This is what Swami tells us. That's the love Swami has got for everybody. And he says we can each develop this love, for we have it inherently as part of our inner divine nature. Brother George mentioned Premaswaroopalara, embodiments of divine love. So he always tells us that divine love is already within you, if only you know how to find it and how to make it flow continuously. But the problem is, the way is that we must open the way for this love, which is trapped in our spiritual heart, to flow outward. That is the important thing. So from the spring in the heart, the stream of love flows towards the great ocean of love, which is God. And because God is within all people, you see how we are now sending this love to all people. Because God is in all people, divine love from the individual heart flows automatically towards the other one. It automatically finds the other love. So you're already sending the love to others. It has, Swami says, a quality, an attribute. And what is that attribute? He says it has the quality of sympathy. Sympathy which makes us happy when others are happy and makes us miserable when others are unhappy. Swami also says, being the great body of love, opens the way to release the spring in the spiritual heart of individuals, of his devotees. There is such a powerful aura of love around him that, like a flame, he burns away the debris that is holding back the stream of divine love from one's true nature. So if you imagine this to be a huge pipe, and Brother George, being a mechanical engineer, will tell you, in a pipe, if you get something that is blocked there, you're not going to get your water in your house. So he says, the problem is this pipe is blocked, you see, that's got debris in it. So he says, then once you are able to unblock it, then the wonderful stream begins to flow towards God and towards all of life. Okay? But he says, I can burn that debris and make it flow. Incidentally, those of who are in the oil and gas industry will know that in the gas pipelines, in very old days, when they first put up these pipelines, they get this clogging and they didn't know how to clear it. They used to send a baby pig through the pipes, and the baby pig comes out the other side and the pipe is clear. Until today, the engineers use the term pigging the pipe. And when I first saw this, I wondered what pigging the pipe was, and that's really what it was. So likewise, when he burns this debris, the love that is there flows. But he cautions us. He says, it can also be blocked again through the heavy sediment of selfishness, egoism, wrong thinking, and all the slush that comes with the accumulation of desires. So even though he opens it out, he burns the debris and it flows, we have to be careful. We cannot allow all the negatives to come back again. Okay? So Baba gives clear instructions to us on how we should be able to keep this pure stream of divine love flowing. One example that I'll take, and that is, he says, and he mentions that actually in the talk as well this morning, and he says, always treat the faults of others, however big they may be, to be insignificant and negligible. And consider your own faults, however insignificant and negligible, to be big and feel repentant. What a difference it will make to our days if we remember this maxim each morning when we awake and recall it from time to time as the events of the day unfold. This is the constant reminder to tell us, don't let those negative qualities get into the pipe. Keep the pipe open all the time. Okay? So, but then our ego comes in sometimes, and the monkey mind comes in, and it says, why are we then equipped with critical faculties if we must refrain from criticizing and judging our fellow men? Swami says, don't talk ill about others. So why are we given this faculty then for this? Then Swami teaches us that we should criticize the actions of the person rather than the person himself. In fact, we must guard diligently, he says, against judging others and talking about their faults and weaknesses. And one of the most important things he tells us in our code of conduct is talking ill of others, especially when they are not, especially in their absence. Okay? So that Swami has given us a formula how to get this love flowing and how it can get to everybody else. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother Krishnan. Brother Krishnan spoke as an engineer because, you heard he's an electrical engineer. So he spoke about how we have to pick the pipe, our pipe, to take away all negative qualities. You see, each one speaks from his point of view. Yesterday we heard that Swami used it because he's a Gana Lola, Gana Priya. He loves the music. And we also love the music. And he uses these pictures from music, and then he compares ourselves as the flute of Krishna. A flute is also a pipe. Not a pipe of an engineer, but a pipe of a musician. This has to be also kept clean from all negative qualities and straight of every fault. And then when this ego goes away, then, of course, this divine love can manifest. And I will say also what Brother Krishnan said, that it made easy when we see the omnipresence of God, when we can feel the presence everywhere, we can see whoever we meet, to see that it is a form of God, then this divine love becomes so easy. It becomes very natural. So now I would like to continue with a next engineer of our panel, a younger engineer. Is Mrs. Saigopini Panerselvan from USA. She resides in the Bay Area, and she's trained as a software engineer this time, not electrical, and I'm a mechanical engineer also. But all are spiritual seekers. There is place for all engineers in this field. And actually, when I speak to my students, because I'm a teacher, I'm not an active engineer, but I teach mechanical engineering in technical high school. So they're very surprised when they hear their teacher that I am meant to teach them about mechanical engineering. Then I start with philosophy and with spiritual principles and all these and human values, and they're very surprised. But this is an advantage because they're surprised, and then they stay with open ears to hear why this strange teacher, instead of teaching mechanical engineering, started speaking again about human values and about philosophy and spirituality. Anyhow, with our teacher, with our engineer now, she's also the same field because except engineering, she's a Group 3, Sai spiritual education teacher, and who was raised in the Sai fold. So, please, Sai Gopini.
Sairam, everyone. It's so good to be here. What an incredible panel. I am so humbled to be here, and I think the answer for what is divine love has already been answered, right? But I want to ask all of you, what does Swami call each of us? Embodiments of love, right? And so in that vein, right, our true nature is that we are embodiments of love. There was an incredible story that was brought up earlier where Swami says he is the love of 1,000 mothers. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up without a mother. My mom passed away when I was a child from cancer, and it was heartbreaking. For those of you who don't know what it's like to lose a parent as a child, it's like somebody cuts off your limb, right? You don't have an arm. So many basic things like who's going to pick up this child, who's going to take this kid to school, all of those things are difficult on a single parent family. I'm very grateful. I was raised by an incredible dad. He's my superhero, but I'm also really grateful because as mentioned earlier, that Swami's divine love flows through each of us. And I was raised in the Sai fold. So when I was raised here in the Sai fold, I felt that community. I felt Swami's divine love. And so many of the aunties and uncles who, helped raise me, and I'm so grateful to be here today. So our true nature is divine love. What does that mean, though? It's love without stipulation. It's love without expectation. It's love that is non-judgmental. It is accepting. It is this love that we all want, right? It's pure. It's sacrifice, as was so beautifully said earlier. Jesus sacrificed his life, right? It is this love that is sacrifice. And how many of our parents have told us, oh, I've sacrificed so much for you, and you're behaving this way, or I've done all this for you, and you're behaving this way, or you're not giving back to me, right? Is that really sacrifice, right? I think it's a hard line to pull across, right? Because, of course, there are expectations. I think when I think of divine love, I think of my dog. How many of you have pets here? Pets, right? My dog, his name is Merlin, and he comes to me and he has so much love. He looks at me, it's just full of acceptance, full of kindness. And that love is without expectation, except he wants a walk, right? That's the one thing he asks, is to be present and to give him a walk. I think all of us experience divine love every day. How many of you have forgiven people without them giving you an apology? I think a lot of us, right? Isn't that a form of divine love, to accept an apology that was never given? Isn't it also divine love to be there for somebody, to stand up for someone without any result? I think we all have divine love, and we all are capable of it, and we all have moments where we give divine love. And Swami gives divine love constantly, consistently, to everyone, right? To all of us, to all of his creations. So that's what makes us different, right? We give divine love in these moments. But isn't a lifetime full of moments that are just strung together? So I think we are all capable of this divine love. We're all capable of, creating these moments and hopefully experiencing that oneness, that unity within all of us. And, I know it's a big ask, right? I don't think any of us can give that love that Swami can, but we can try. So thank you all. Sairam.
Thank you, Sai Gopini. And just your last word, try. Once, Swami was giving me in an interview a very important teaching. And like you, I said, Swami, I know, I try. And then Swami immediately became very angry. He looked straight to my eyes and he said, "Don't try, do." So, like this, we have to do. And you said, you very nicely said, that we all have moments that we can give this divine love. And I'm sure that you have many such moments, and how lucky your students are to receive this divine love from you. So, just on time, Dr. Phil arrived because his flight was canceled, I think. That's why you were delayed. Yeah. And Dr. Phil is the seventh member of our panel today. Yeah, I think most of you know him very well because he is the zone chair of Zone 1, which comprises the English and Dutch-speaking countries of the Western Hemisphere. He lives in Massachusetts, and he is a clinical psychologist in private practice. So, and also another important role, he's a co-chair of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization Archive Committee. This is very important because all these experiences, when we meet, we hear so many experiences from different people. We have to gather all these experiences because it is really bringing the presence of Swami and makes his teachings alive. So this is a very important task. So Dr. Phil.
Sai Ram
Phil.
to everyone.
Sai Ram.
Very happy to be here. I've had my divine love tested by a 13-hour plane delay, so it's interesting to try and keep that in mind as we work through our lives. And I don't, since I didn't hear what other people said, it's hard for me to bounce off of that. But there were a couple of things I was thinking about which I would like to share. One is that divine love seems like something so incredible, so awesome, so heavenly, so beyond us. So the beyond us is a little bit of a problem, because if we think, oh, I am not worthy of divine love, or I can't give divine love because I'm not a divine creature, or divine love will flow from me someday in the future when I have some samadhi experience or some elevated experience, or Swami gives me this vision or whatever it is, and then suddenly I'll turn into this incandescent being who will just radiate light without stopping. So I think that puts a little bit too high a bar for us, and that we should try and think practically and in terms of day to day. So there's a famous joke about how do you carve an elephant? And the answer is you carve away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. And in this, I think, is something similar. In other words, our interest in the world, as we chip away at that, as that goes down, it's going to go down on its own, but we can sort of help to accelerate it. On the other hand, our making other people happy, our be on the lookout for, not what I'm feeling, but how can I make this other person feel better? So if we think of those moments where we're giving love, and you can give love at any time. I mean, you can do it by something that you say, and if it's not possible, if it will be too much for that person to hear, you can just think or pray inwardly. So every moment has access to divine love. And if we think of that when we have that impulse, that's given by God. Swami says God gives the impulse to do spiritual work. If we think of whenever I want to give something positive to someone else, oh, this is God. God is here. God is giving me this impulse. And if we do that, if we put together those various pieces, I think we're working our way towards divine love. So with that, I know you have many people talking, so Sai Ram, and look forward to hearing your questions.
I think this was a very good question to keep in mind that Phil said. How can we make others feel happy? This is a good question that we have to keep in our mind. And this brings its question that makes the divine love manifesting from within us. normally we ask about ourselves, how can we make our life better? But instead of using the word I, Swami has advised us to say we. And this is the only way. I remember in an interview, Swami asked, I plus I plus I plus I equals? Then one Sai brother in our group, who was very well studied all the philosophy of Advaita and non-duality, immediately he said, Swami, I plus I plus I equals I. So there is only one I. And Swami stopped him, because this came only from the mind. He said, no, I plus I plus I means we, equals we. First we, and then he. So we have to keep in mind, and I think this is a very good question to have in our heart and in our mind all the time, how can we make others feel happy? This is the way to manifest the divine love from within. Now we have half more hour for this panel discussion. I would like to thank everybody who contributed to this, and this is time that if you would like to share something, or maybe if you would like to make any question that it came into your mind after hearing this input from the panelists. Did you hear the question? It is very important, because we all face this. How can we treat people? Okay, we are full, we want to give divine love, but we receive, and some people are very negative. I think this is what you said. How can we, and the way is to keep distance. Is this divine love, or divine love means to try even to these people to approach them, or how can we treat this situation? So, do you have any answer? Sai Gopini?
You can go first.
Oh, Kreta.
I will start with, somebody asked Swami this question in the interview room. Back in 1977, I believe he said, somebody said, Swami, it's 4th of July celebration. It's our 4th of July for the USA. So Swami called in all the foreigners for the interview. And this came up in the interview room. Somebody said, Swami, some people are just so hard to love. What do we do? And Swami's answer was, there's not enough interest.
Pardon?
Not enough interest.
Not enough interest.
Not enough interest. Not enough interest, because everybody is part of the whole, is part of ourselves. I mean, each person is on their own spiritual journey to self-realization. They're all part of that divine oneness. So we dive deep in oneness, and we just keep sending love, and then he has shared that who you thought was not close to you all of a sudden becomes your friend and your nearest and dearest.
Thank you. Sai Gopini and then Krishna.
Sure.
So this is a great question. I think a lot of us experience and have met difficult people, maybe we're the difficult person, you don't know, right? But I think something I practice a lot, and I tell my students this, is when somebody hurts you, they tend to be hurt themselves. So instead of wishing them ill will, I think we can wish them healing, right? Why would somebody hurt you unless they're not hurt, right? I've had people tell me things about myself. I've had people critique me from the way I speak to everything about me, right? And it has nothing to do with me. It's a reflection on them. So what can we do in these moments? We can send them light, love, right? Who here does the Jyoti meditation or the light meditation? Right? Maybe it's hard to do, but if you practice this every day, this is something that I do, and it helps me a lot with people who are very critical of me. It's really not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on them. And in that moment, instead of just being angry, we have so much energy that's very valuable. Our time is very valuable. Let's use that for our benefit. And I like staying away from them. That's also important, right? Make sure that you're safe and you're in a good place. Sometimes that's hard to do with family and things like that, but as long as you send them light and love, you're doing your best.
Thank you. Krishna?
Sairam, when Brother Gautam asked the question, my mind went back to Prashanti Nilayam, where a lady went to Swami and said, by the way, apparently the sevadals, the lady sevadals, are worse than the gents in terms of how they deal with you. So the ladies went to complain about the lady sevadals and said, Swami, this is Prashanti Nilayam, the abode of highest peace. And these people come here and kill the little bit of peace that I had in my mind, you know. What do we do about it? Swami just looked at her, smiled for a while. Then he said, wherever the devas are present, the asuras must also be present, you know. So in other words, where the gods are present, the opposite, the demons must also be present. You know, that's when you get the balance. So you get the yin and the yang balance, you know. So the message from Swami would be that don't be despondent about that. It takes all kinds to make the world go around, you know. If the whole world was made up of Krishnan or George, it'll be a very boring world, you know. Isn't it? You need this variety there. So we'll give them a chance and say, okay, these people have to do their bit as well. But as Sai Rupini pointed out, don't let it kill whatever is already in you, you know. So you need to keep that distance, but keep sending them love. You cannot fight fire with fire. It's got to be the water. So therefore, you don't fight whatever it is they're throwing you with the same thing. You got to send love to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. It tells that we are living in an unfair world where we want to do good, but there are negative forces that are always pushing us backwards. It is true, you cannot give what you don't have. And so some people don't have anything. What they have is what they give. So when you experience that negative, get to know this is what that other person has. But what you do, you remember you are the light. In our scriptures in the Bible, they say you are the light of the world. You are the salt. And the goodness with salt, you don't put all of it. You just put a bit, and it makes the food tasty and good. So, finally, to be angry is your choice. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be sad. Because what you are doing is selflessness. You don't want to be selfish. You want to render service. And in rendering service, you want to be joyful. So choose to be happy. Whether they like it or not, I'm happy. In our church, we say, I'm happy today. And every day is a happy day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it was the answer was given. Maybe if I would like to summarize two things. Let's keep our serene mind, our happiness, and send love and light, but at the same time is important to keep distance sometimes without losing this good nature of divine love, but keep distance. And my personal experience is that also Swami did exactly this thing. It was moments, many moments, that he kept distance. And by doing that, without even saying anything, he gave a very clear message how we should transform ourselves. So I think this is the way we have to, I hope that your answer was covered. So, I saw another hand there.
Wonderful panel, and I really wanted to come to this panel because I questioned myself on whether I can always see the God in others. My grandchildren, who are not Sai devotees, have said, Grandma, you need to get a gun. You need to get a gun to protect yourself because it's so much going on in this world. And I tell them, I said, you know what? If someone were going to harm me, I would hesitate to even shoot a gun. And then I would say, I said, but if someone were going to harm you, I wouldn't hesitate. And then I had to ask myself, well, why would I hesitate when it came to me? Do I not love myself enough? And so I have just decided that I'm just going to ask Swami to keep so much protection around me that I would never be tested. But is that taking the coward's way out?
I wanted to say something. This is a story from a fellow that I knew who was living in upstate New York. And he had had many good chances with Swami. He was totally infused with Swami. And he was a student at Bard College. And a robber came in, had a gun, and said to him, give me everything or I'm going to shoot you. And this fellow said, Sathya Sai Baba, I know you're in this man. And the robber said, give me the stuff or I'm going to shoot you. And he said, Sathya Sai Baba, I know you're in this man. So the man shot the gun, and nothing happened. I mean, there was a gunshot, but and the guy was so confused he ran out of the room. They found a bullet on the floor there, halfway between the two of them. So as I say to people, don't try this at home. These are professionals. But clearly, each of us has to figure out our own path on this. For some people, let's say you're a Jain, in which you're putting so much emphasis on nonviolence, in which you're even sweeping away the ants so you don't harm them. And so I think we each have to come up with this. We can't really answer this question until we're in that situation ourselves. And I think for devotees, however, Swami, we're starting to rely more on Swami than on the gun. So, yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
Sairam. More of a statement than a question. Come back to the last point we're talking about. Sister made a very good point. Hurt people. And what people do is a reflection of what's within them. But the real question, going a step forward, is when we know that someone is hurting and they're projecting their hurt onto us, we are aware of this. There's something unhealed within us that we are personalizing it regardless of knowing that they're hurting. So we have our own traumas that we're not dealing with, we're not fixing. We know that person is hurting, they're projecting it onto us, and we still personalize it. The real question from there is, what is it within us that we've not healed? If someone's being mean to us, and we know it's a projection of what's within them, and we're still making it personal, the next question should be, yes, okay, we see that the person is hurting, but the next step is, what am I hurting from that I'm still personalizing something knowing that they are projecting? This becomes a moment of introspection for us. So come back to the question, yes, someone is hurting, you don't make it personal, but go a step further and say, what have I not healed within me that I'm still personalizing someone else's projection onto me? And when we start healing that, we keep creating a barrier between us and the person trying to hurt us. We give energy to these things. We can't say someone is causing the pain, we give that energy. Now we've got to ask ourselves, why are we giving it energy? And when we heal that, we become free of people's projections onto us. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you.
I found your answer, Ma'am Kreta, when you said that Swami said it's about your interest. I remembered a video clip where Swami is talking to the boys in Kodaikanal, and Swami is telling, all of you love Swami, but how is it that this boy is sitting in the front and you are sitting at the back? Because there is no token line system in Kodaikanal. It's just first come, first serve. Swami said, that is interest. For somebody, interest is in food. For somebody, interest is in sleep. For somebody, interest is in Swami, so they're coming. So also, I think when you asked, when they asked, how Swami, I'm not able to love everyone, Swami said it is interest. I think It is about how important we feel that relationship is. If I'm interested in that relationship, how many other times I get back hurt, I will go back to it again and again and again. If I'm not, I try it once and then just let it be. Silence is a beautiful thing, because I many times feel that when we try to see God in all, I used to wonder, what is the meaning of seeing God in all? Do I go to, in India we have maid servants. Do I tell her, please come, sit, do Pada Puja to her? Because that is what I will do if I see my Swami. But my understanding of pure love and this divine drama is that we are all actors given a role. So when I am doing a role in the movie, if there is a maid servant, I will treat her like a maid servant, but I will know in my mind that we are both actors, we are both equal. So then what happens is, when I'm commanding her, I'm commanding because my role demands it, not because I have an ego that I'm superior to her. So also, when I say I love someone, I'm saying it because that's the script of the movie. I'm not attached. It is not like, okay, when the director says cut, I go my way, she goes her way. There is no attachment. So there is neither hate nor love, nor attachment when we genuinely practice that we are all actors in a play given a role. My role is to be sitting in the audience. Tomorrow my role may be on the stage. Day after I may be out. But it's just a role. So as per the role, I will follow the decorum, the rules of the play. But I will always remember that all of us are equal. That is at an intellectual level. But as I said, at a practical level, as brother asked, do we keep trying when it's tough to love someone, do I keep trying? If that is important, then you have interest, automatically you will try. If you don't have interest, try once and then let it be. If you can't help ever, hurt never. Yeah, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Aravind. So maybe this can be the last one. Then we can have a last input from the panelists, and then we can close our meeting.
My Sai Ram to all the presenters and the panelists. Thank you so much for enlightening us. Brother George, you had just summarized an answer for our brother who had mentioned about the hate, and Sister Gopini also very beautifully said, let's pray and then keep the distance as such. So in my heart, I felt, just adding one comment, that distance not physical, but distance from letting my thoughts go in a unloving trail. So distancing myself and bringing myself back to know I focus on the process, not the person. So distancing myself from any unloving thoughts that may harm first me or even in the atmosphere, and of course going to the other person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is very good question. I think it is a very good question to end, and I will ask all the panelists to, by answering this question, because this is very important and very practical. We spoke a lot about divine love, but the most important thing is what we do in order to invoke this divine love. So we can start in this order with Sai Gopini, then Satya, and so on.
Putting me on the hot seat, right? Okay. This is a great question. I think Lata Auntie, well, you're somebody who practices a lot of mindfulness. So this is something that's, I've learned from you actually. I think light meditation is something I do on a daily basis. When, I was in a very similar situation as you, Sathya, with my job. And in those situations, all you can do is really send light to them, right? Even when they've hurt you, even when you're hurt, also taking that extra step beyond, right? Seeing, okay, have I caused this person pain? Being able to differentiate that. But in my day-to-day life, I think the thing that I do is meditation, as well as soham breaths. If I'm angry, if I'm starting to get upset, or if I'm not in a place where I'm going to react well, I'll so when I inhale, hum when I exhale. It can be any mantra, anything that, your punchline, right? Whatever your positive punchline is. Something that calms you down in that moment. Another thing that I do is gratitude. I end my day every day with 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it's not like, oh, I'm grateful for the sky above, right? It's something very concrete in that day that has happened, and that reinforces what, it enforces that there is divine love around me. It enforces, oh, I am very grateful. I am surrounded by this divine love. When we focus, our minds tend to focus on the negative. I think there's a lot of neuroscience studies that show that our minds skew negative. So when we fixate on all those negative people, on those negative comments, but when we think about all those positive things, at least 3 things, right, every day at the end of your day, that helps me a lot.
Thank you. Satya?
Kind of, with the experience that I already shared with you, I was meditating, sending him light and love, and that didn't work for me. So what I did was to try to put in his shoes. I couldn't, but at least I tried, and I did it. What I realized is that maybe he wasn't having that love. Maybe he was having difficulties in his life. So I tried to empathize with him. He was, dealing daily life, and that brings me that it wasn't because of me. It was because maybe he was looking for something, and he didn't know how to get that goal, to approach or to get that goal. So what I am doing right now, nowadays, is try to meditate in light, but also be grateful for everything that Swami gives me, and try to share with every single person or animal or bird or whatever that we are here because of Swami's grace. So I try to be grateful every single day with every single thing that happens to me. Like if I just hit in my head, like, okay, thank you, Swami, it was for something, there is a reason, right? Or if I just have a really good meal, thank you, Swami, because I have my meal. So that is something that I really do.
Thank you very much, Satya. Greta?
Sairam. Everything is, as Swami has shared with us in his teachings, reflection, reaction, resound. If you believe this life is 100% divine, and for each and every one of us, and is the great glory of creation, then everything that comes our way is exactly what we need in that moment to advance to the next step. So, how to do that? Constantly thinking about Swami, like he said, think of me, what do I look like, how did I talk, how did I move? And he said, do not walk in front of me, do not walk behind me, walk beside me. So incorporate Swami with you in everything that you're doing. Waking up every morning with the idea, oh, one more opportunity to live our life like Jesus, to live our life like Rama, to be like Sathya Sai. It's a divine opportunity that we cannot miss this great chance that's been given to us, because each of us are, again, a flower and a garland of Sai Ram with your own special fragrance. So, the name. There is spiritual energy in why we sing bhajans, why we have Vedas, why we have Sanskrit, the sound element. We want to help you bring up the higher energies and helping us to live at that level of human values, and use that music, use that song, and use and support each other on this journey. Sairam.
Thank you, Greta, and thank you for your enthusiasm over that. This, I think, it is definitely something that helps us to invoke divine love, to be all the time enthusiastic about this divine love.
One of my favorite quotes of Swami is that for those filled with divine love, everything in this world is vibrant and alive. And for those bereft of love, everything in this world seems dead. So if there's some time where there seems to be some deadness in the interaction or whatever, it makes me think of that a little bit. And I'm also thinking about the emphasis Swami placed on unity. And it sort of came to me that in a sort of a practical way, am I unified with this person? Do I feel unity right now? Are we together? Are we together as God in a certain way? So obviously that doesn't come up 100% of the time, but trying to encourage it. So I suggest it if people resonate with that.
Thank you. Krishna?
Sairam. And as I mentioned earlier, as you go along in life, the debris starts coming in. The pipe starts getting blocked. So you go back, and the formula Swami has recommended is, he tells us that it is selfless service, devotion, and meditation. He says, you will do this, you can do it on a daily basis or whatever, strikes your fancy, you do that. Whatever helps you, do that. And you find that when you do service, you learn a lot about humility. How you can help the other person, how that other person, looks after you. We used to do feeding the homeless in a park in Sydney. And there was a chap who used to travel about 30 kilometers and come and have his food with us. And, and we used to ask him, and he used to live up in a place called the Blue Mountains in Sydney. And one day we asked him, why is it that you come all this way here? Surely, there are people up there doing the same thing, you got the soup kitchens and so on. And he said, the difference is this. When I come here, I connect with you people. You treat me like a human, and I can talk to you. It's not just the food, it's the company, the talk that you give us. This is what really makes me, and there was so much of love with these people, as you see them. That's where, when you do the selfless service, you eventually start building up that love again. Sairam.
Thank you, Krishna. Father Joseph.
Thank you so very much. I want to echo the sentiments of my fellow panelists. And in trying to respond to your question, also had a few other thoughts. From the Christian background, to grow your spirituality, it is very key to keep in prayer. Every other moment is a moment of prayer. And this is seen very well when we talk about Jesus. Every other moment he was in prayer. The other thing is, in our tradition, we fast. We keep off from food and the desires of the body. That keeps us, in our spiritual life going. The third one is reading the spiritual books, like the Bible and other written material that will aid you to grow in your spiritual life. So you cannot afford to have time that you just sit without doing anything. Then also, if you are not reading, make sure that what you are listening to, even if it is music, even if it is, some other information, make sure they are in line with godliness. They will help you grow in your spiritual life. The fourth one is the company that is around you. Sometimes they say evil company corrupts. When you live with a person who does not want to grow spiritually, then eventually you will never grow spiritually. Like, I have been so very much overwhelmed by coming to attend this conference. Yesterday and today, I've been very energetic on me, and I feel it. It's a place, it's a good place to be. And I thank God for giving me this opportunity to come and join you and learn with you. I am really, really so very much humbled. The final one is a service. Every opportunity is an opportunity to serve. So when you engage your mind in serving, you grow yourself in terms of spirituality. Those are but a few of what came to my mind when you raised that question. But allow me to thank our brother, Mr. George, for moderating this session. He has been very kind to us. If you allow me, may we clap for him.
And I would like, from my side as moderator also, please to clap for our panelists. And thank you very much, Father Joseph. I think you covered so many different ways that we can help us to motivate this divine love. And one of these, it was prayer. And the good company, satsang, what we had now. When we have this good company, good discussion, good study with holy books, with the Bible, with teachings of spiritual masters, then all these are helping. And also, you mentioned the prayer, so I would like to close this meeting with a prayer that we all know very well, and I think is the outcome of the divine love, to pray for everybody to be happy. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. This prayer that you hear often means, may all beings, may all the worlds be happy. So let's keep this in mind, because this is divine love in action. So let's close our meeting. And thank you all for your participation. And Jai Sai Ram.